All right, welcome the show. We are back with the talk. You are tuned in with myself, Mr. Scott Lylander, and we have a very special guest with us tonight to talk about Innovo audio design, and that is Yair Raz.
Yeah.
Yair, welcome to the talk.
Thank you. Thank you. Pleasure talking to you.
Wonderful. I just want to share with our audience today who's streaming on the Total Hi-Fi Experience YouTube or the Lone Star Audio Fest Facebook group or the show Facebook group. Just welcome to the chat. Definitely drop your comments in the chat. Say hello. Give us a thumbs up, and we will share those. This is an audio family friendly show. So we'll be watching those comments and just want to give everyone just the courtesy, just keep it clean, keep it audio. And this is going to be a very exciting talk. But first of all, I want to introduce Yair with Innovo Audio Design, and I want to let everyone know that when you come to Total Hi-Fi Experience Lone Star Audio Show, May 234, 2025, or the show SoCal, you're going to be able to meet Yair and learn and listen to Innovo Audio Design. So I'm going to pass it over to Yair. Yair, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about Innovo Designs, and maybe how you started and where you're going?
Yeah, a little bit. So how far can I go back? I've always been, I've call it audio addict, and so also involved in electronics. So I've been actually dealing with electronics since the day I was, I don't know, 12 or 10 years old. My father used to joke that at that age I only took things apart. It took me a lot of years just to bring them back together. So I was experimenting with a lot of things, trying to build amplifier. Again, you see, I'm guitar player, so messed around with tube amplifiers, building unique stuff. Even in high school, we actually learned electronics in high school. Always been involved with that. So moved on to got my electronic engineering degree. We arrived there to Silicon Valley in California in '92. Stayed there for I don't know, about 22 years, and always, like music because I'm playing music. I like to listen to music, so always like moved around at the audio show, the audio stores that were available at that time. Today, everything is almost online, and just trying to get some to understanding, get the best products available. And two things I believe got to my mind. One day we had to replace our speaker; they just too old. And I did a research, read all the magazine, and went to an audio store. That time was Definitive Technology Towers before they moved before the golden years hours, and I brought my wife with me. And I looked and said, listen to those speakers. They was amazing and everything. They're indeed amazing. And she looked at this and she said, where I'm going to put it in our living room? Those big towers. Of course, I'm trying to persuade her. And next to me was another nerdy engineer trying to convince his wife to buy tower speakers. And she looked at him and said, nowhere in hell those things going into my living room. So that's at the end, we bought little Bose speakers. They were good, did their job, but they fit in the living room. So it always kept my mind. I said, how can I, if possible, I messed around with electronics. That was the time when you can look at the components. Today, you can't do it anymore. How can we make something that, even the spouse or politically correct spouse or the partner can actually agree to put them in the living room? Moving on we moved to Florida from California. And again, I didn't bring my audio system with me because we left it there. And I said, you know what? I can't find something that we can put in a rental room, in a rental apartment small enough. Can I build something? So we started dialogue with some builders, some speaker designers. Let's say I learned the hard way what to do and not to do. So it's been an ongoing process of trying to learn. So my goal initially was to create a speaker that was really small, wireless, high fidelity, brings you everything you need without the bulkiness. And we moved through several prototypes on, and all the time they sound great. My wife looked at it and said, no, too big, too wide, too. So at the end of this, and just a little bit before COVID, we got to what we thought was the right the right size, the right look and feel almost. And then, of course, COVID came, everything stopped. But after COVID, we started to push things around. We actually moved a little bit, changed the prototype, and this is what you see on the website today. So the goal is to have something that sounds amazing, looks amazing, and you really want to put it in your room, not just to hide it like speakers in the wall or something. So yes, today a lot of the hi-fi high-end speakers, you can find them, very huge speakers. They sound good, but they are very big, very bulky. They require a lot of equipment, a lot of wires, which is good. If this is what you want and what you like, this is good. The Innovo Lux T1, it's actually the first member of a series of a collection, is very different. First of all, it's very slim and elegant. If people actually can look on the website, it's really about 5.5-inch thin, the tower speaker, but it's an active speaker. It means it has all the amplification, the signal processing, everything built into it. That's what we say. It's more than just a speaker. It's almost a complete system. It's besides the look of it, the elegance, it actually can bring back your music to life again, because it has 10 speaker drivers, 8 subwoofers, a woofer and a tweeter. Each one of them has its own power amplifier. Everything controlled with a very sophisticated DSP. The only thing you need is just bring your audio source, whether it's from a streamer, from a preamplifier, and that's it. Very elegant. Doesn't protrude into the environment. And this is something that both the audiophile, in my opinion, can appreciate, but also the spouse. Hey, it's something you like to see. Our speakers are handcrafted. So they actually tune specifically, each one of them is tuned specifically, but you can order them in various finishes. So they can match your furniture, they can match your living room, you can match the style. So you don't have to compromise between the looks and the sound. So that was my vision, our vision all the time. And right now, I think it came to life. So we first introduced them in the Capital Audiofest in November. We drew a lot of crowd in the room. We got the best of show from one of the auditors. And again, for a young unknown company, it's something I'm proud of. And now we're going to present them in the Lone Star Audio Show and also in the Costa Mesa Show. And hopefully a lot of people will come, listen to it, and hopefully they like it.
Absolutely. And I'm a big audiophile. When we talk about, what kind of speaker is going to fit your room, where do you want to put it in your room, what kind of electronics do you want to have? Do you want to have everything built in like the Lux T1? Or for me, I started off with great big Tannoy Ardens loudspeakers, and my spouse was, she liked them, right? They're big speakers, and I'm like, oh, I'm just going to upgrade just to a little bit bigger, and I brought in Tannoy speakers that are like, they're literally washing machine size, and she just looked back and went, oh, in fear. So I still have them, by the way, but I can totally relate to the aesthetics of a speaker and how you want a speaker to look. Now, remind me again, just say that, so the Lux T1, which is what we were talking about, you got how many bass drivers and mid drivers do you have in those?
So the Lux T1 has 8 elliptic drivers, subwoofers. So each side, if people are going to watch the website, each side of it actually has 4 subwoofers. It's not radiator, it's subwoofers. In addition to that, we have a 6.5-inch woofer and another and a tweeter, scan stick tweeter. So it's a total of 10 drivers. Now there's more than that. Each of the speaker section, the subwoofer has their own 500-watt power amplifier. The midwoofer has another 500-watt amplifier. The tweeter 150 amplifier. So it's bring it to a total of about more than 1,100 watts available for you to enjoy. All of these actually are managed by a very sophisticated DSP, the same DSP, Shark DSP for the techies, that you can find in all the high-end receivers and processors. So we're doing all the crossover time alignment inside of the speaker managing all the speakers together to give you the precise sound that you expect actually from sitting in front of a stage or in front of a stadium. The power is not just to say, okay, I'm going to blast my room and all the neighbors going to hate me or love me. It's what gives you the feeling of liveliness. So I personally, and I'm sure a lot of the people that watch the show can close their eyes and they can say, you know what, I'm listening to music. This is a live performance and this is a recording. And why is that? On the live performance, especially on the drums, the bass, everything, there's a lot of dynamic range. There's immediate sound. You hit the drum, you feel it, you get it an immediate result. Where a lot of systems that they cannot really reproduce the kind of immediacy and the power required to deliver the liveliness, the reality of that. So this is where the looks excel, because with all the power in their behind the hood, you don't really know whether it's a recording or not. You think you're actually sitting there and listening to the live music. You feel it. It's almost like you have an engine, a huge engine that can get you from 0 to 60 in about a second. Yeah, you can get to 0 to 60 in 15 seconds, but it's a different feeling. You're going to get there. It depends how much you're going to enjoy it.
Yeah, I can absolutely relate to that. And when I listen to music on my hi-fi or on any hi-fi or where I'm demonstrating hi-fi, sort of like the last thing I want to hear is, how loud can you go? I mean, sometimes, there's tracks where we want to turn up the volume and, we get into that mode where we want a lot of SPL, but there's other times where, you want to forget about your system and you just really want to focus on the stereo. And, if there's bass that is just overpowering the system, you start to focus on, well, that's a lot of bass, and it starts to taken away from, well, like how that integrates with, the whole drum and the whole presentation of the track. And I think, what I heard was that you use a series of amplifiers which drive different sections of the of each, of you got woofers and you got mids and you got tweets. And when you utilize different amps and when you utilize DSP, right, you can, it's really interesting what you can do in active speakers now on refining the amplifier, refining the DSP to that one particular driver, to that one range of frequencies, and then integrating that across the speaker to come up with a sound that the designer feels is representative of the product. Now, do share more about the position, how that impacts, where you can where they're designed to fit in the room, which again is close to the wall. But is with the DSP, is there one mode? Is there EQ that's adjustable? Are there different like sonic modes, and do they work for home theater?
Yes, exactly. So I'm glad you asked it. And you mentioned a correct point. The fact that you have a separate amplifier for each speaker section, it actually helps to bring really the reality of the music. You can see that a lot with traditional speakers that, even the most famous one, when you demo them in the show, sometimes they have a pile of about 2 power amplifiers, sometimes 3 for each speakers, because they want to drive each one of them with a separate amplifier. That's how they try to get you the feeling. So the amplifier will only focus on their own section, but they still have to go through the passive crossover, the loose power, the loose coherency. What we do here is actually we take the signal with the DSP, we first of all separate them. That's the active crossover. And we can achieve actually filtering in a level that it's almost impossible to do with the analog domain, because unless you need huge crossover, and then each speaker actually section is driven by its own amplifier. So that's why you feel free. For example, in the tracks that we play in the demo, we play tracks that have heavy low end, but you can still hear the singers and the percussion very clear. In traditional amplifier, it just overshadows them because the amplifier works so hard to reproduce the bass, it cannot reproduce correctly the high ends or the mids. So the singer is actually somehow get lost within all the low end frequency. Here, every note is clear. Now, as you mentioned, in a home theater, this is much more important because home theater movies, let's call them movies, the soundtrack is much more demanding than music, than most music. So the producers try to uh, create the track, the music track. He tried to really emphasize dialogue in the center. But then in especially action movies, there's a lot of high intensity moment where things explode, when things shoots and everything. First of all, a lot of traditional systems can cope with this huge dynamic range. They can get to 0 to 60 in a second. They have to it takes time, and that's why you feel, yeah, I feel the action, but it's not real. Here, when somebody blows up a building, you really feel it literally. So those speakers, although they are very small, and people think about, oh, it's a stereo system, it's not good for home theater. Believe me, when you put them and you watch a movie, you feel like you're in the middle of the theater. You don't all the dynamics, everything. You mentioned also position. Traditional speakers, in order to reproduce low end, actually that's physics, they required a certain volume inside the woofers, everything to create those low ends. And some designs use what they call the vents in the back to actually give you additional low ends for the air. But that requires you to position the speaker sometimes about 3 feet from the wall in order not to get some boomies and boom, a low end and not and a clear audio. Here, because we don't have any vents, we don't have any radios, nothing, you can put them against the walls. That's it. Don't put them in a corner because then the subwoofers really going to hit the wall. But in a very about 2 3 feet from the corner, it's okay. If you have a big room, that's even better. But you can put them against the wall. There's no restriction.
That's wonderful, and again, that goes to the aesthetic design of the speaker. Hey, we've got Norman Mann here welcoming you, welcoming Innovo Audio Designs to the Lone Star Audio Fest, May 2, 3, 4, and experiencing the Lux T1. You can also experience that at the show in Southern Cal. And stick around. You never know. There could be New York as well. More details to come. But I definitely I want to experience that. And um, I'm very curious on, how is this going to interact against the wall? And so I look forward to listening to that as well.
Yeah, that's it. These are the questions. I know when we demoed it in the in the previous show. First of all, people their eyes. We actually demoed 3 tracks, varying from very relaxed club atmosphere to a lot of hip hop, not hip hop, but drums, percussion, and a lot of vocals and full blown orchestra. And then we also demoed 2 movie tracks to show that how well those speakers behave in the movies. And you can see, first of all, the expression on the people. I look at the people's face. You start with the dialogue, and then things go boom, and you feel them actually, whoa, oh my God, something like this. So really welcome you to look at it because those speakers can excel in movies with production. And the funny thing about it, after the demo, I stopped talking to people, take some air. People come to look around. Is there something here on the back? Are there any hidden subwoofers somewhere there? No, this is everything it is. So people really didn't believe. They wanted to look at this and see what else is hidden there. So this is
Well, I want to encourage everyone out there to go to InnovoAudioDesigns.com and check it out, because the industrial design, as Yair said, it's a very slender speaker, and when you look at the sides, you get to see the drivers, the bass drivers, and how those look. And I could just imagine that. Now, one thing that you did say that I picked up on, and it's kind of, when you listen to stereos, it takes you a while to develop what particular attributes make a really wonderful sonic experience. But you did mention, the speed of a driver, and I know in the systems that I like, I've been able to distinguish between sort of a slow driver where you get a little more sustain, a little more hold on that note. And, for some tracks, it makes it really smooth and rich. But when you really sort of understand that 0 to 60 as like Ferrari fast, Lamborghini fast, and that's the thing, when you hit a drum, it just like it takes you aback, because the transient response of a driver, and I can just imagine the dedicated amplifiers in there and the DSP in there, how that would just sort of contribute to that speed and that, the sense of awe.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the kind of feeling. What I want people to do, of course, I want them to look at the speakers because they're amazing, but sometimes you can just close your eyes, and I did it for a couple of the demos when we didn't, there were 2 or 3 periods of time where we didn't have a full room. So I told the people, just close your eyes and tell me what you feel. And they said, whoa, I think I'm in the middle of the show. So this is exactly what I want you to do. People, and I looked at this and people, my reaction, a lot of the reactions were people listen to the track and they smile. So this is what I want to do. I want to bring, I don't care which system you buy. Of course, buy our system, we'll be more than happy. But, you should have a system or a stereo system, an audio system that you just sit there and smile.
Yeah.
So I hope our speakers actually bring you that smile. But this is our goal. This is not a marketing or something, but our goal is, buy something, sit there and just smile, be happy, because you feel you're in the middle of the club, in the middle of the show, in a concert room, in the middle of the action in the theater. Smile because this makes you happy. So this is what I believe our speaker deliver, and this is how I feel every time I listen to it. I sit in my living room and listen. Whoa, we did it.
Yeah, I feel the way. I feel the same way about my room right now, and that doesn't come by accident. Now, another key attribute here is that they're handcrafted. So, walk us through why handcrafted. And I know that you're an electrical engineer. I see some guitars back in your background. Tell us a little bit about what's going back there. Maybe there's some musical influence and how that has rubbed off on your audio design.
Yeah, there's definitely something. So again, what you see here is two of the guitars are Paul Reed Smith guitars. They are made in the U.S., in Maryland, actually. They are considered, not just by me, one of the best instruments ever available. There are 2 things that distinguish them. A couple of things. First of all, the playability, the sound, the way they look. They are handcrafted. The quality of Paul Reed Smith is well known. This is something that I always wanted to bring, the different colors, the different finishes. But also, when you take Paul Reed Smith guitar, it actually, from the factory, you can play. It stays in tune. It doesn't bend. You can take it to tours. You can take it everything. And not just me, much better players than me say that. So this is a model that I try to follow. This is an excellent. These are not cheap guitars. They cost money. But yes, you get what you pay sometimes. And you look for quality. You look for consistency. You look for something that you just like to hold in your hands. And this is what I just, without even amplify, just touch them and you feel, wow, this is for me. And of course, there's a Fender here, a US-made Fender. You always have to have a Stratocaster in your
How many guitars do you have?
Actually, right now you see 4 of them. There's 2 PRS here. One is the flagship with the standard. Then there's what you call acoustic, semi-hollow piezo acoustic. So it's also electric guitar for jazz and acoustic because it also has a piezo, and of course the Fender Stratocaster. A little bit customized because I like to tinker with things, change the pickups, everything's another acoustic here, PRS. Again, I'm a big fan of PRS because it just feels right for me. But taking that analogy to the speakers, first of all, everything is made in the US. Yes, there are components that you cannot get in the US, but they are US made. We work with a partner, Portland Audio Labs, in actually close to you in Portland, not Portland, the next, across the river. This is where our acoustical designs and final manufacturing is done. So they really, all the speakers are CNC, of course, to precision, and when we build them, we actually sometimes have certain variations, certain veneer finishes that we say, you know what, let's build them to stock. But a lot of time they're just going to be waiting for a customer to say, hey, I want that in walnut, or I want that in cherry, or I want that in that colors that we are offering. So they're going to be finished according to the customer request, and then they're going to be tested. But the last step is really the fine tuning of the filters, because yes, the drivers, some of them are custom made for us, but some of them are very expensive off the shelf, but there's always tolerances. Even the most prestige manufacturer of the drivers, there are tolerances. So we're actually going to the complete measurement, making sure that frequencies, everything is totally to the spec that we want. Time alignment is perfectly. Sometimes we have to merge a little bit of the parameters, and they actually tune perfect and ship to the customers. So this is actually the whole chain of that. More than that, you can come and say, hey, I want it in pink, Ferrari red with dots. Why? Because this is what you want. So these are custom orders. We can accommodate you. Of course, it might take a little longer. You can have special colors that, my furniture is in this special veneer, this special color. Send us a sample. Of course, we'll quote to you and we'll deliver it to your home exactly the way you want it. So this is what we want to do. We want to have consistency. That you heard the Innovo, the Lux T1, you heard it in a show, you heard it with a friend. Yes, your speaker might not look the same because you like different veneers, you like different finishes, but it will sound the same. Give it the same source, it will sound exactly the same. It will not be variation because of different component. I got the batch of from last year compared to a new batch of components. No, they're going to be consistent, each one of them.
It's amazing, and I got a question down here on what type of inputs are available on the Lux T1. But before I get to that, you do the fine tuning like that on every single set of loudspeakers that you sell.
Yes. So before, even if we had speakers that already been built, because sometimes we build to stock, before we actually ship them, again, we go through inspection to make sure, that they were just packed nicely, but make sure everything's okay, and then retest them before they ship to the customer to fine tune them and to make sure they are perfectly to our spec. So it's a single speed. Again, we're not a mass production company. We do not claim that we will sell hundreds of thousands of units mass production. So I think the whole high-end audio is more of a niche market within the audio system. So we fit in that. We want to make sure that of course, we are for-profit company, of course, but we want to make sure that we will not compromise the quality of what we're doing by trying to sell more than we can. So we want to make sure that every system we design and build actually meets our standard and meets the customer satisfaction. So that's how we operate. So everything is built on. A lot of things will be built to order. As we start selling, we probably will not have things left on the production floor that say, oh, we just built it for fun. We were busy to fulfilling orders. But again, we have the process dialed in. So again, we think from start to finish between if we don't have anything available, between 4 to 7 weeks from an order, we can deliver to the customer the speakers of it's a system of his dream. It's not just a speaker, it's a system, as I mentioned.
And I'm a big fan of that. When you're ordering something like this that is custom, high end, crafted, there's a prestige on. No, you can't have it. You pick whatever you want, but this is not. This is not Best Buy. You don't get it right now, and that's stellar. I mean, it speaks to quality, and it really, for me, I think that's high end at its core.
So again, as we start selling more and more, hopefully we're going to figure out, again, it's manufacturing, and I'm going to answer that question. And again, we might say, what, walnut sells like crazy, so we're going to start trying to build not just for order, but trying to have, maybe we're going to have several pairs already ready. So people will say, oh, I want walnut. You're going to see it on our website. We can ship it again within a few days. Again, we take it from the storage, we check everything, pack it up again, and ship it to you. So there was a question here, if I said about the inputs.
Mm-hmm.
Again, So I'm glad that you asked that. So again, these are active speakers. So all you need to do is to provide a XLR, a line level XLR balanced input from your favorite preamp, streamer, uh, any source that you have to the Lux, to T1, and voila, turn on the power and just enjoy. But as Steve Jobs said, there is one more thing. We mentioned that we have 3 speaker section, 3 amplifier, but there's another amplifier already built in and another XLR input, and this is for an optional Atmos up-firing speaker. That speaker can have and will have an add-on that I don't know yet if it's going to be upgradable or going to be a different model that you can place on top of the speaker, again, slim for an up-firing Atmos speaker. So again, it's like 2 speakers in one. It already has 2 XLRs input, one for the main speaker, one for the up-firing. So for people that actually hopefully will use it in a home theater environment, hey, you already have 2 main speaker and 2 up-firing speaker in your living room connected to your processor, and you have the beginning of a home theater, or sometimes that's all you need because the great imaging of those speakers plus the additional up-firing, you will feel the surround even just with them. So I hope I answered the question.
There's another question here. Are there settings in the DSP to allow tuning to rooms and/or owners' tastes?
The quick answer is no. The speaker are tuned for precise frequencies and time alignment. And I'm a nerd, so I played with that. So I played with actually putting room correction inside this, but hey, I don't need it. First of all, the speaker is fully balanced, everything. And if you really need room correction or correction to the acoustics of the environment, hey, there's a lot of good product there, preamplifier processors that already do it. And again, as I mentioned, you don't need anything else. Take our speakers and now connect the processor, preamplifier, streamer of your choice. A lot of them already comes with room correction. An example, although I'm not a dealer on the DC show, we use the NAD M66 preamp and streamer. It has DRAC built in. So if you need room correction, you can use that with the processor and the speakers will sound as they sound.
So if you connect a preamplifier to the Lux T1, are you getting some of the flavor of your favorite preamplifier into the sound?
Yes, actually, that's a good question. This is, as I mentioned, we actually use on one demo, one session, we use the NAD. And again, I'm not sponsored by any of the companies we bought them. And good sounds, amazing sound. And right now in the coming shows, we're going to be using the Cambridge Audio Edge NQ streamer preamp. It has totally different tonality. It's much more dynamic, a little bit warmer on the sound. So definitely, our speakers, I think, and I'm sure right now, because I tested them with another high-end, I cannot tell you who is this right now, they're actually transparent. I mean, they bring out whatever you connect to them, but they'll actually take the audio, whatever characteristic of the preamplifier or the processor, and it will bring it to life. That's all. So if you like a certain tube preamp that has a certain sound that you like, they will bring it to life. They will not color it. They will not add anything to it. They will just present it to you in the best way possible.
The audiophile in me wants to clap at being able to add whatever preamp I want, because I know that the preamp is such an important component in your audio system. So definitely that's a special feature. And also clap on just having a flat tuned response, something that is sort of designed from the sound of Innovo audio designs. 100%, that's awesome.
What I learned in my whole life in everything, you have too many knobs and switches, you're going to shoot yourself in the foot. So we're trying to provide you, okay, this is the best sound speakers, a transparent, everything is actually bring to life. Now you choose your flavor, and I'm okay with that. It's your taste is different than my taste.
Yes.
That's what we want to do. We don't force you to use a certain component. We say use whatever you feel like, whatever best works for you.
Wonderful. Well, I mean, I can't wait to listen to them. I'm all hyped up now.
Okay.
And it's gonna be fantastic. So definitely May 2, 3, 4 at Lone Star Audio Fest, and in June in Costa Mesa and possibly New York. But uh, yeah, I want to give the opportunity. Is there anything else that you want to talk about on Innovo Audio Designs, or on yourself, or on music, that you haven't had the opportunity to share yet, that you think that the audience would like to hear?
Yes. So as I mentioned, I'm a nerd engineer. So although I'm heading the company and doing a lot of other non-engineering work, but in my nature, I'm a nerd engineer. So I'm focused a lot of the architecture, system design, and in those speakers, there's a lot of components besides the acoustic. There's the electronics, there's the software involved in that. So we actually have a lot of through our trials and say, okay, let's make this. Let's no, it's not good enough, not good enough, not nice enough. We actually have a lot of acoustical electronics and software building block, which we are planning to use to bring additional products. But again, our products always bring the captivating, the amazing look, the captivating sound. So this is important. We want our product to be that people look at it and say, we want people to look at our product, not just to hide them. So our product will always be appealing. The acoustic will be great, but also a lot of innovation electronics. So along the year, we are working now on two unique preamplifiers. Again, stereo and preamplifiers that can take digital inputs. One version will also take analog input, but we'll do very unique processing to some IPs that we license, and to take the stereo even to higher dimension. And I will not I will not go into more details. But again, we're going to have electronics that people, if they want, they can use with our speakers, they can use with their systems. Uh, the same thing, we're gonna expand the Lux family for additional members. So we're actually gonna introduce smaller size speakers, call them bookshelf, but smaller size speakers. These are for people that maybe don't have the room although those speakers are not big, but require a little smaller speakers that can still bring them, the live feeling of music. But again, to complement a full home theater if they want to, and also a very unique soundbar. That again, soundbar that you put it in your living room on the wall and look at it and say, "Wow!" And when you listen to it, you just say, "Wow!" So we have all the components that we play, but again, we are moving gradually, slowly to introduce more and more products. My philosophy in all those products is there are a lot of companies, good companies in that domain, the high-end audio. So what I tell the people, hopefully my customer in the end, but it is not important. The people, you have three parameters. One, of course, is how good the sound. You want it to sound your way. The look and the price. Within those two parameters, find the system that will be best for you. Now, of course, I would like to buy from us, but it doesn't really matter. Play with those parameters, look, sound, look, price. Find the how they call it, the point that fits yourself, and get that system. And again, as long as at the end you'll sit and smile and be happy. That's my philosophy.
Uh, that's wonderful. Absolutely, I agree with that. So, but we will see the Lux T1 at the next two shows, and then you're working on those future products.
Yes, and hopefully when the New York show will be announced, I know the dates, but the details, hopefully we're going to be there too. Hopefully, potentially we're aiming for the South California show to show another product. Again, it depends on the schedule and everything, but that's for later.
Wonderful. Well, hey, it's been wonderful talking with you. I'm an audiophile. We can talk all day long. It's funny. I just met a dude, and we was like random guy, and I'm like, I'm an audiophile, and we just started chatting and kept on going. But I can't wait to meet you. Can't wait to talk face to face. I can't wait to listen to the products. And I think, this has just been a wonderful THE talk.
Yeah, exactly. And I enjoy that. I'm really looking forward to being the 2 show, maybe 3 shows. And if any of the listeners actually have a question they want to ask, feel free, go to our website. They can ask any question. I'll be more than happy to answer. Because again, our goal is to make you happy. That's the goal, that you will smile, enjoy the music, enjoy the movie. That's what's important.
Yes, that's the audiophile life.
Yes. Great. So I'll see you. I'll see
Okay.
you all at the shows.
All right, yeah, and I just want to thank our friends and family who have tuned in from Lone Star Audio Fest, from the show on Facebook and YouTube. Thanks for being here. Once again, you're tuned in with myself, Mr. Scott Lylander. You can check me out on Instagram at Audio Acoustic Engineering. Definitely go check out InnovoAudioDesigns.com, and we will see you very soon in the flesh and blood. So for now, have a great evening and
Take
keep
care.
listening and keep smiling.
Keep smiling. That's the more important thing. Okay. Goodbye, guys.